Hello there, and welcome back to a painful adventure with Alpine in around the grid. Merry holidays, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I combined the two, kind of weird. But we're finally back here, and today we're going to try and get through probably a little bit more of the season than we've done in the last couple of episodes, because I've been bogged down. But finally, Christmas break is upon us, and I'll have a couple of days now where I can hopefully relax and record. So with that in mind, we are going to power through. Hope everyone has had good holidays. Hope everyone's looking forward to 2025. But right here and right now, we are going to power through. So currently, we're about 60 points behind Red Bull. It's not a terrible position to be in. Sargent is currently looking like a contender for the title. I don't think I've ever uttered that sort of sentence before in my life. And we do have Monaco up for grabs in just 4 days. So let's see if we can actually put the cars together here. The front wing is damaged. The chassis has suffered a little bit, but looks like we will have 2 cars available. Just gonna take a quick look at it and see where we're at. I think we all need a little bit of a reminder. Probably just me in particular. But it looks like we're in a pretty good position here actually with parts. We do of course need to manufacture some more front wings here. That's a given. We want to have at least one ready for the race itself. The chassis, I don't know how long we have left on the design here. It's done in 10 days. So in 10 days, we're going to start making a new version of chassis anyways. So I think we'll leave that as is. We are, however, going to get started on a side pod here. And basically, this is again going to be a development piece. We're probably going to do one more of these before we put them on the car. But as you can see, it's already getting quite good. And that top speed boost should help us out quite a bit. We're almost up to 1 kph here, or we're 81% of the way there. But this design in itself should help us out quite a bit. So let's just get that started. And this is going to be a type we put on the car. We're kind of doing the same thing here with the chassis, as mentioned. But we do now have another CFD period. So let me just go over the car parts again. I believe we are basically, yeah, I actually manufactured the wrong front wing. That's embarrassing, but not uncommon for me. Let's cancel this. We're not going to be able to get a refund. That's okay. And we're actually going to rush 2 of these. It's going to cost a little bit extra money, and I did waste a little bit of money there by manufacturing before I checked what we had available to us. That's fine. It's a mistake that I've made plenty of times in the past. And what we are going to do is, of course, invest CFD time into this rear wing. As that is going to be the next thing I kind of want to focus on. I'll have to see what I do with the remaining periods, because we might actually go ahead and invest in, say, the chassis, the side pods, and the suspension. We'll have to see. Because we definitely need to focus on making a... We need to focus on the car here, let's be honest. We need to focus on the car in order to have any chance of staying competitive to the end of the year. Because I do have a bit of a slump. And this time around, I do kind of want to try and avoid that if possible. We're going to put 6 engineers on this project because it is a CFD project. There's no point in artificially slowing it down, or, you know, slowing it down for any reason, really. As the main benefit from that project is not in the time spent designing, but in the units given by the CFD. And I probably do explain that a little bit more often than I should. That is how things are. Okay, Monte Carlo in 4 days. We are making new front wings. We will have a new chassis design coming out. We're going to gamble here, I think. Let's check the calendar, because I believe we get a tiny break here. We should be able to rush 1 chassis if push comes to shove before Canada. So I'm not too worried on that regard. Okay. Rear wings, front wings, we're making all those. Suspension, we can make 1 more of these. So we still need to do 1 more suspension design. And I think I'm happy here. Let's see what we can do in Monaco. So the Monaco qualifying here ended on a, I guess you could say, acceptable note. Yamamoto is on pole, Verstappen second, and then we have Tsunoda. Then we find ourselves. Sainz is behind both our cars though, and he's currently won in leader championship. So honestly, not the worst result ever. It also is pretty close here between some of our cars. It's a little over a couple of tenths here from basically being on the podium we make. So while that front wing did help, we still have a long way to go. Now, strategy wise for this race, I am thinking that we might try and do a... Now, we're going to do what we usually do. We're going to go with the light soft. And the reason why we're doing that here is because I don't see us pulling many, if any, overtakes here. That's number one. But also, this is just so extremely powerful around Monaco that it's not even, you know, kind of ridiculous to think about. So we're going to try this. It is probably going to work out just fine. And if we do see a problem like we pit here and we're going to end up stuck in traffic, we'll just do another light soft. I think that will work out just fine. So I'll underfuel, get everything prepped here, and we'll get started with the race. I don't think we're going to have a amazing first couple laps here, but maybe we'll jump a car off the line, and if not, we should hopefully be able to, with higher advantage, get some overtaking done later on. That should not be a huge deal, I would think.
We're here and the streets are abuzz at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Okay, streets are a boost.
And away we go.
We are gonna pause here just to put on high overtake aggression and a better camera angle. So, not the best start for Sargent, but he might be able to. Nope, he might not be able to. Sainz is actually getting Schumacher further back. No, he's actually not. I'm wrong on all accounts there. Albon, Tsunoda, Verstappen, and Yamamoto on long-lasting compounds there. We're the only soft runners with the exception of Piastri. This could be worrisome. Let's just put it like that. It could be worrisome. I think we'll be fine, though. Because since there are hard runners, basically, between our cars there, Albon and Tsunoda, they should fall off from the front pretty quickly. And that should open up opportunities for us to get overtakes done. After the first 10 laps here, Schumacher has lost one position. Sargent is where he started, as we've just been completely incapable, I guess you could say, of actually making the pass. We just haven't been able to do it. We've used all of our energy, and for Schumacher, he did get very early overtaken by Gasly. He is falling down the order, which is not great. But we're still just 5 seconds off the lead, so it's not super bad. It's not great. But we should start reading them in now that they will slow down a little bit because they've, well, spent the first laps here just burning their tires. But it's not a great situation to be in by any means of imagination. We'll have to try our best here and see if we can close down on that win. And for Schumacher, we definitely need to clear Gasly very, very quickly. We are now getting closer to our pit stops, and we haven't really been able to make anything happen here. And if we take a look at the difference of time here, we should come out basically for Schumacher around Leclerc. And for Sargent, we're going to come out behind Verstappen and Sainz, which is going to suck a little bit. But Verstappen is the only one that we're going to come out behind that has actually pitted. So we're still basically net fourth at this stage. And if we clear Verstappen, we might be able to undercut Tsunoda. Yamamoto is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I could definitely imagine that we will be able to undercut Tsunoda. But so far, this race hasn't really gone our way. We've been struggling with overtaking. Yamamoto's in the pit, Tsunoda's in the pit, we are in the pit, so yeah, no undercuts are going to happen here. Unless Tsunoda has a pit stop issue, which he does not. And we do have a clean stop. Schumacher is now coming into. Sargent is going to come out here in 4th place, I believe. 5th place now, as we did not get speed up. Schumacher has definitely been held up, I think. Maybe a little bit. Did come out behind Leclerc as expected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars ahead that needs to pit, so it's basically still 7th. But yeah, for Sargent here, net 4th. We will be pushing. We were trying to make an overtake here on Verstappen. And then we'll have to see what we do with Tsunoda, because Tsunoda is currently being held up. And if we're lucky, we might be able to take advantage of that to get a little bit further up the reaches here. For Sargent, overtaking should be doable, hopefully, on this lap. And for Schumacher now, he is making a little bit of inroads here as Leclerc gets out of the way. So, Gasly up next. We are getting increasingly closer to our final pit stop. We're still running 3rd and 7th. We haven't actually been able to make any inroads. And as you can see, a Sargent, when he pits, should hopefully come out ahead of Albon if we're lucky. And that is kind of going to be what we're going to try and do here. We're going to try and pit. We're going to go onto this final soft tire. And hopefully that'll be enough to reel in the cars ahead. Now, Tsunoda is going to be pitting again. Verstappen, Albon, all three of these guys are going to be pitting again. Yamamoto might try and make it till the end on these hards, which would be interesting. And the same is actually the case here for Gasly. So in terms of the pit stops here, it's going to put us in a bit of contested territory, particularly for Schumacher. We're actually going to go ahead and deploy, because Schumacher really, really needs to beat Bottas and Ocon out here. Otherwise, he's going to have a little bit of a DRS train to contend with. Castro is probably going to be a little bit harder, but we can always hope that he, with a little bit of deploy here now, with 2/3 of the lap remaining, potentially can speed up enough that it won't be a problem. We've probably done the same here for Sargent, but the energy to overtake is probably going to be more valuable long term than anything we do right now. 2.5 second stop, that's pretty clean. Verstappen is going to overtake us. That's not a surprise. Albon, we are safely out ahead of. See here where Schumacher ends up. It's one heck of an angle for the pit crew. Do we beat Bottas and Ocon out? Do we beat Piastri out here? It's going to be the big one. And we do. So Schumacher with a beautiful stop here. 15 seconds of clean air up to Sainz, who is probably going to run these tires till the end. And we'll have to see if we can actually reel them in. That is going to be a bit of a challenge. But as I mentioned here, for Sargent, Tsunoda, Verstappen both need to pit. So if you can reel in Tsunoda here, that would be amazing. But we'll have to wait and see. Still plenty of laps remaining. Hopefully we can get back on the podium. And I don't think we're going to beat Yamamoto here. She's just incredibly quick. But we might get that second place. We've had an incident here. Sargent has crashed, apparently. What exactly happened here? Did he spin out? Nope, just ran straight into the wall. I agree. Okay. That throws a wrench into all of our plans. So we have major front wing damage. We have minor suspension damage. I think the front wing here does need to be replaced. It's Monaco after all. So we're going to have to pit here, and we don't actually have a front wing to replace it with, because we rushed those wings. But we're going to need to pit again here because of the damage the tires have suffered anyways. Look at this, 78% versus what it should be. That is not 78% at all. That should be 90-ish. So Sargent here has put himself in a bit of a pickle where we need to pit. We don't have a front wing. That's my fault, let's be honest. I think the best option here is to pit for hards and go full attack. As you can see, it's 14 seconds slower. But these tires won't make it till the end anyways. So let's go full attack on these. Burn them up. And then we'll have a look and decide what we do once we get to the pit stop. Because we might be able to go onto a use soft again. It's just that we are gonna need to pit again. We can't make the soft last till the end here. We'll have to live with the damage to suspension, the damage to front wing. Try and make the best out of it. And, yeah.
Try and close the gap.
I've now been absolutely destroyed by Sargent. And I don't have spare parts. We'll have to see how slow he is. Worst case scenario, we do retire him here, but can at least still get overtaking done. So I guess the damage isn't super terrible, but then again, Verstappen is basically driving a car that's, you know, in puncture territory, so shouldn't be too surprised there. Schumacher with a clutch overtake on Albon as he pits. Still got some chances here. We now have a McLaren of McLaren violence.
Might be debris. The wall.
I don't actually know who's at fault there, to be fair. I don't need to see where Norris is. Yeah, that is both McLarens with a little bit of Humpty Dumpty.
Piastri crashed.
They have more front wing damage than I do.
Gravel or debris on the track.
But yeah, let's see what Schumacher can do. 15 seconds. Let's see if Sargent can hold off here. I kind of doubt that, to be fair. Tsunoda now has fresh tires. So we'll have to see where exactly we end up here. Probably not going to be pretty by any means of the imagination. but we'll do the best that we can. Sargent actually did a pretty good fight. He held out until lap 60 before he got overtaken, but Verstappen is actually playing a wingman role right now, because as you can see, he's 18 seconds behind Sargent, and he is currently in puncture territory, and he's holding up both Gasly and Sainz for Schumacher to hunt them down. And if we take a look at lap times there, almost 16 seconds there a lap versus Schumacher's 13 and a half, and Verstappen did in fact end up getting a puncture. He's now going to hold up us slightly there. Not great at all, but he has now given us an opportunity here to potentially reel in both Gasly and Sainz, and he's also kind of destroyed his own race. Now, Schumacher getting overtaken by Albon is not necessarily a bad thing, because, well, we're on similar tyres. Albon is definitely pushing harder, and that way we can get a little bit more temperature into the wheels here. But Sargent still looks like he could come out ahead of Gasly here. We're going to be quicker than Gasly and Sainz. They both have kind of destroyed their tyres, 50%. So I think we will be fine. I think we're going to go into soft, probably going to run a standard, something like that. But it's been a bit of a weird race. I just want to take a look here on the lap history for Sargent after he picked up that damage. So at lap, then we have, this is when he crashed. Yeah, it's a second slower here. And his lap times haven't been terrible. Like, this one was pretty bad, but that's because he got stuck behind the punctured Verstappen. So we're not losing too much time here. Now, if you compare it to some of our early laps, yeah, it's pretty bad. But I think we'll still be okay. And that's the important part here. Sargent might still get a podium with basically a destroyed suspension and 2/3 of his front wing, which would be insanity. I think we're just gonna have to go onto the older softs here, and we're gonna take a look and see what we can do with them. I do still think this is the best option. We can probably run them aggressive. Yeah, we can run them aggressive till the end. So Sargent's looking good. Schumacher is just gonna have to try and hold on here. He is getting kind of run away from by Albon. I think we do want to deploy a little bit of energy here. Catch up to Albon, catch up to Sainz, and then we can do a little bit of top up behind them while we heat up these tires of ours. Clean stuff from Sargent. Is it enough though? Is Gasly going to come flying? Nope. He is not. And Sargent is still in third. And is doing very, very well. Now, Schumacher is getting left behind a little bit more than I'd like, but he has actually now caught up to Gasly, and more importantly, he's kind of sliding up here as a podium contender, which is insane. But what we are going to do now is actually deploy a little bit. We do want to try and get up, well, further up this train. No one is going to pit here. So basically, for the next 13 laps, I will be jockeying for position with help of DRS and energy, basically. So yeah, we need to be aggressive here. There's no other way around it. We need to try and do some probably insane overtakes. That's the only way we're really getting by here at Monaco. We don't have enough of a top speed advantage. We need to send it into corners, and I don't see that happening here. So I'll try and manage our energy in a way that gives us an opportunity to maybe get an overtake done. With Albon having cleared Sainz, our opportunity has basically arrived, and if we can't pull it off this lap, I'm going to go full attack on the next. And hopefully that'll be enough for us to clear the Red Bull here. But there should be no DRS, and with that we should have a very easy pass, just like that. And now we can continue our hunt here for Albon and Gasly, who Albon just straight up flew past. And we're probably going to do the same thing here. Albon is going to be able to run away. He does have a basically very, very similar tires to us. So what we need to do here is clear Gasly immediately, and then try and close down to Albon again. Because if we don't, we're going to be in trouble. But so far, it looks like it's going to be a very, very straightforward DRS overtake. I don't think anything spectacular is going to happen here. With that, we're now 1.3 seconds behind, 1.2. I think we should be able to close back down. I'm going to go ahead and deploy a little bit just to make it a little bit easy to make it happen. We want to get within DRS again. And then we want to spend probably 2-3 laps recharging, giving us 1 or 2 laps of actual attack potential, if you want to look at it that way. So, gonna be very, very close here. There is also a back marker in the way, but they should give us DRS. I think. Nope, they are just slowing us down. I'm pretty sure they just gave Albon DRS and did not give it to us, which is bad. I think we might be in trouble here now with catching 4th place. Because we don't have energy, we don't really have much tire to use. Yeah, Lawson there played a impeccable role for Albon. But with a few laps remaining now, we are going to just go full send. And maybe we can still make something happen. Because we're definitely closing in. You have 15% to get this overtake done.
DRS disabled. DRS disabled.
DRS has been disabled. Let's turn this down to standard. Rather keep it aggressive so we stay with him. I know that this is just for 4th place, but for Schumacher it's actually kind of an important finish. I think it would be enough to boost his confidence quite high. Schumacher is currently still running mentality, just positive instead of enthusiastic. Getting him up to enthusiastic would be huge for our future hopes and prospects, if you will. Yeah, this is not looking amazing. 3 laps remaining. Also across the line. I think even if we play it to perfection here, it's going to be very, very close that we get any sort of attack chance done here. Next lap is going to be final lap. Pressure on the second to last lap here. Which means we need to get the overtake done now. We need it now, immediately. And of course, Albon gets back marker DRS. No, sorry, we actually have 1 more lap on it. Yeah. Basically, so far behind here, Yamamoto and Tsunoda, that we actually have 1 more lap after this. But I don't think we can afford to turn down the tires.
Let's keep on it.
Should be no cars nearby to save Albon this time.
Yeah.
We're so far behind that, as you see here, everyone up to Leclerc has been lapped. Come on now.
Starting last lap. Yeah, I understand.
We should hit the 30% threshold just a little bit later. Yeah, if I'd saved energy, then we maybe would have a chance here. But unfortunately for Schumacher, I think that is going to be it. Yamamoto wins. Tsunoda's going to get 2nd place. Sargent is going to limp back in 3rd. Which is honestly amazing. And for Schumacher here, he tried.
Checkered flag.
Wasn't enough. But on a positive note here, we did beat both RBs. Well, both Red Bulls. Not the worst race we've ever had, but also not the best. Could definitely go on a lot better, I dare say. But podium, 5th place for Schumacher. Could we have gotten Tsunoda if we had a healthy car and didn't crash? Yeah, probably, because again, we paid an extra pit stop. We lost some time due to suspension and front wing damage. Could we have caught Yamamoto? No. Don't think so. I don't think that would have happened at all. But we do now have a Sargent on top of the driver standings. Schumacher remains where he is, but Albon is catching up. And in the Constructors, we gained 13 points, closing the gap down to just 45. So all in all, a good race weekend. We'll have to see what we do going into Canada, though. I think that one can be very, very painful. We should get that new chassis up and running, but we'll have to wait and see here. So Murphy has accepted a contract here. We're just going to confirm the hire. And yeah, we're going to have to get that new front wing manufactured immediately. We're going to just manufacture 5 of those. Just going to double check it that this is the correct front wing. It should be. It is. Manufacture 5 of these, that way we have 6 to spare. And the suspension we should already have a replacement for, so that's not a big deal. I'm already making one of these. Gonna get a new spec very soon as well. So I think for now we just leave things as they are. We don't really need to manufacture anything but the front wing. We are gonna get the new chassis here in 3 days, so we might as well skip ahead. And as I said, we can rush 1 for Canada. And I think we are gonna do that. Just to try and be as competitive as we can be this early on in the season. So this chassis is going to be not a huge increase. 21 kph, 17 coolant ring, X% engine cooling. It's not a huge increase by any means of imagination, but just 2%, well, less than 2% DRS correctness there is actually enough to bump us up into mid-table status. So yeah, we do need a little bit of work there. Acceleration isn't much really we can do with because it's mostly tied to your engine. So it's not a surprise that we are the worst team when it comes to accelerating the car. We're running Renault engines after all. The question that I have to ask myself now is, do I start doing a little bit of research here for next year? Or do I continue developing the car? And honestly, I'm kind of tempted to continue developing the car a little bit further. So we're going to start another chassis project here. And we're going to keep on trying to improve. And as you can see, this is going to be a pretty decent improvement down the line. So let's get that started. And yeah, let's get the front wing made. Let's get the chassis made. Then we'll see how we stack up in Canada. Even with our upgraded chassis here, it seems like the game does not have high hopes for us. 13th is what we're expected with Sargent. I believe it was 16th here with Mick. And the funny thing is, it was actually pretty similar in Monaco, but we managed a 3rd and a 5th there. Let's see if we can do that again here in Canada, as the current overall ranking of the car with the new chassis is 1st, and as you can see, it's 8 without. So getting chassis, getting side pod, getting suspension up and running to, well, tier 5 or 5th iteration, it's going to be a massive upgrade to the car. And then I think we'll try and do maybe 3 projects each before we do next upgrade. I don't know, we'll see. It's my first time delving into extra development like this, really. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of car we get at the end of the year. But now though, Canada, hopefully we can have a good performance here. I believe it is expected to be rain. And with our poor dirty air tolerance, qualifying here is going to be key. So the AI has once again done the goof here at wet qualifying. I think this is kind of important to mention. The AI doesn't handle wet qualifying very well. And the best example here is that Hamilton has yet to set a time in Q2. Verstappen did 1 run when it was very wet and is 5 seconds off pole. And that kind of puts him out of contention here and potentially us in a very, very good position here to get a decent qualifying now in Q3, which honestly we'll take a bit of a closer look at because it is going to decide a lot of how this race is going to go. Now we're going to use a fresh setter into here. We should be fine having 3 sets for the race itself. So let's just get right in here, and I do want to take a quick look here at the expectation before we make a decision. And honestly, setting out the cars at the beginning and at the end seems to be pretty a pretty safe bet here. So that is exactly what we're gonna do. Just get them out right away. Everyone is kind of doing the same here, but honestly in Q3 you don't really have much more time than do 2 runs in the game anyways. So it's not really a surprise. Let's see what we can do time-wise compared to those behind. Sonoda beats us, Science beats us, Albon Yamamoto beats us. That's not a great start for us, honestly. This kind of puts us in danger territory. That's the best way I can put it. This puts us in a very, very bad spot. And it should start drying out a little bit more here. Honestly, this is going to be the best chance we get here the further we wait. And potentially we could see that the AI don't do a second run, which could be potentially clutch here. 210, I think we send our cars out here just to ensure that they get around. Need 115 on a regular run. On a run where we also need to heat up the tires, we need a little bit more. But yeah, let's see it. Do we improve? Purples, greens. And the AI hand us a 1-2 on a silver platter. Yeah, they do need to work a little bit on the wet qualifying, unfortunately. Because the AI just is very bad at planning. And as you can see here, we qualified first and second in cars that really shouldn't qualify first and second here. But we'll take that. If we can hold off signs on the first lap, everything's gonna be hallelujah for the race itself. What is the exactly... what exactly is this heavy rain gonna look like? Not very heavy by the looks of it. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting. So the AI suggestion here is that we limp until lap 15 or 16, then we go inters, and then we go softs towards the end. I kind of agree with this. I don't know if this, like, it's just gonna be heavy rain for 3 laps. I wouldn't count this as a heavy rain race, but that looks weird. And honestly, I think the strategy the AI has put up here is probably the best one that we're gonna get. It leaves enough wiggle room that if the rain doesn't arrive, you know, exactly when we expect it to, lap 17, we can go a little bit further. I agree with the AI. in a shocking twist of fate here, I agree with the AI strategy. Honestly, we might end up pitting a little bit sooner at the end, but that's really the only complaint I can give here. Again, this is the AI suggesting a strategy for the race, and they've done an impeccable job here. This is basically very similar to what I've done. I'll probably move this off though, probably to lap 48 for, you know, estimation purposes. But this works out just fine. We'll take this deal that you've offered us for this race. We're starting 1-2. We're going to make sure that we underfuel here. I'm just going to double check that I've actually done that so I don't do a goof. And we are going to go full attack. We're going to have half the race here with rain. Doing full attack for 2 or 3 laps is not going to hurt us much. So this should be okay. Should be being the operative word.
We're moments away now at the Canadian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Now, on the other hand here, there is a problem that needs to be mentioned. That is, since we're starting on the soft tires here.
Let's go.
Okay, we just run off the track like that. Since we are starting on the soft tires here, and everyone will be doing that, we're in danger for the first 15 laps. We're going to be under threat from basically everyone here to get overtaken. And that's not a good thing. As Schumacher actually just re-overtakes on their own. Damn. I'm going to put Schumacher to neutral and kind of have do the same with Sargent. Because we're 1-2 now, we can kind of DRS protect each other. Gonna allow them to push on the fuel for a couple more laps. But yeah, we need to try and create some bigger gaps here, because once we pit, that's when we are going to start seeing some pain from our side, I guess I could put it, because having both cars next to each other when we pit for wet tires is not the dream scenario here. We're going to go ahead and start conserving a little bit here. I know that we are getting rain, which means that we should be safe. Sergeant, that's not good. But even so, we do need to try and manage. And right now, we're actually creating a bit of a gap to Albon. And while we are using all of our energy doing that, that would actually be good. More gaps are created, the better. But it looks like we aren't actually getting any real gaps here. We're just getting some push and pulls. What is the rain? Is it still estimated lap 17? Yeah, it is. What we can here now is just stay like this for a little while and then go full attack towards the end of the stint. I'm struggling with a strategic decision right now. Do I recharge? Do I play a little bit slow? Or do we just go full send and gamble? I think for the time being, keeping things as it is would be okay. Both the Williams are going to end in trouble with their pick. The same can actually be said for the RBs. Red Bulls. Honestly, we are running neck and neck, but the other teams aren't in any better position. I dare say. They aren't better off than we are anyway, so we'll be fine. However, I think this is our cue. Yeah, and Rain is actually moving closer now. I think this is our cue to go full attack and start creating some gaps here. We don't really have the energy for this. If I could recharge safely, I would have. And if I micromanage, I can. But that is going to be a little bit tedious to put in the video. Wet weather is now predicted. And honestly, if we could get away from the cars behind, that would be amazing. I don't think we will, though. That's the problem. Because even if we switch back and forth, it's not going to have any huge effects. It would be better to use energy on the in-lap. And I think we are going to... Sonoda's already jumping into the pits. That's actually not insane at all. Because the rain is going up really, really quick here. We're going to have to do the double stack. I don't see any other way that we're getting this done. The rain is just going up too quick. We should have done what Sonoda did. Sonoda was decisive. Pulled off probably an amazing timing here on the stop. We'll have to see if we even stay ahead of him going... Or do we need to? The question is basically just boils down to, is Schumacher, or Sargent in this case, well, Schumacher most likely, is Schumacher going to lose 3 seconds staying out? Are we going to lose 3 seconds staying out another lap? And I think the answer to that is going to be yes. So while it is going to suck massively here, particularly since Schumacher's ahead of Sargent, I don't think we have a choice. We have a gap down to Hulkenberg, that's good. The Williams are double stacking. We might lose 1 position there maybe. Clean stop, beautiful. Sargent. Clean stop, beautiful. And it looks like the Williams had a bad stop themselves, or just got held up in the pit lane.
Still sat in P1.
This worked out kind of okay. And Tsunoda, as I mentioned, Tsunoda had a amazing timing there on his stop. And he's actually going to get the overtake done here, I think, because he just has more heat in his tires. I don't know if we can actually defend against Tsunoda here. It's going to be close. For Schumacher, I kind of want to just harvest here a little bit while we get heat into the tires. Harvest, then... Sorry, we can't actually harvest. Science is too close. Yeah, we're in a bit of a troublesome situation here. Tsunoda is going to be a threat. If he overtakes Sargent, I don't think it's necessarily, you know, a terrible thing. We can probably manage. But I want Sargent ahead of Sainz at least by the end of this. Giving Schumacher a win here wouldn't be terrible either. Because, again, it's point for us instead of Red Bull. Sargent is now up to temperature, which should help his pace a little bit. Never mind, just as I say that, he does in fact get overtaken. Let's run a little bit of harvest here. And try and re-overtake. Schumacher has also been overtaken. Which honestly is okay. Run a little bit of harvest on him too. Again, our car is terrible at following. But we shouldn't be this terrible. We've had an incident.
There's a lot of debris everywhere.
Now this was at turn 1.
It's Hamilton.
There's a lot of wiggle room here. And oh, that's obviously far from intentional.
You must always leave the space.
Charge off.
But yeah, I honestly don't know what we do. I think management is the best thing we can do. Science is just incredibly quick. I assume he's burning. He's not really burning more tire than we are either, so he's basically running the same setting. We could try and tune up to just go full attack here for a little bit because the temperature is as it is. And for Sargent with deploy, he might be able to get back up on the podium. He is on aggressive overtaking, and he does in fact get back up on the podium. And now with a little bit of clean air, we should start closing some gaps ahead. Sargent is still being hunted though by Tsunoda, so it's not all great. And we are probably going to need to tune him down here because we are running into reds. We still have 10 degrees to go on, but this early on in the stint management is kind of the key. And Schumacher is fine because he's just so much further behind Sainz. So this will be okay. Sargent is still under attack and Tsunoda actually gets that place back immediately. So it's going to be probably a fight here all the way until we get to the dry period in about 20 laps time. I'm going to keep this fight going. We'll see where we're at in, well, 20 laps. Before we get that far though, we have a virtual safety car as I assume Show has had a crash. Locked up right into the wall. Not much you could do there. But yeah, we've had a little bit of an incident. We're still running second and third. For Sargent here, this actually works out pretty well because now we can recharge on the virtual. But I'll have to see what I do here. I'm kind of tempted to allow Sargent to go ahead of Schumacher to hunt down Sainz. Because Sargent is definitely quicker. There's no question about it. Sargent is for sure quicker. But I need to do it in a way where basically Tsunoda isn't given free rein here to also go through. So I'm going to put him on Don't Fight Teammate here, which should allow us to get through in a corner, hopefully. That's going to lose us a little bit of time. But as I mentioned here, I think this is going to be a better option than anything else we could do. And we're also going to run balanced fuel now. Because we're halfway through the race, we're going to need to run conserve for about 8 laps to regain this fuel. And as we get close to the end here, I think we're going to end up at 0. So this should be perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Let's see if we can now chase down Sainz. I know that I said that we're going to skip 20 laps, but something happened that changed the game up a little bit. And I wanted to have a look at it. Currently though, Schumacher is going to have to be tuned down to aggressive. His temperatures are really high. And just out of curiosity, let's take a look at Tsunoda and Albon's tires. They are 86 degrees there. So they do push, they cool, they push. And Albono. That's the wrong Al. 85 degrees. So he's actually handling his tires pretty well here. They're probably running on standard rather than anything else at the moment, I think. But yeah, for Sargent, I'm actually going to deploy a little bit here. Pull a little bit more ahead of Schumacher. Allow him to cool his tires a little bit more. And then we can potentially run a little bit more top up later on.
Right, we're taking the second corner.
So Sargent's push here is going very, very well. And we did actually manage to get the lead off an outside pass. Now the question is just going to be, can Schumacher do the same here? Push, catch up, and make something happen. I think it might be possible, but we'll have to see here. Sainz is definitely not giving up without a fight. And for Sargent, we're going to put him back to just regular deploy. And for Schumacher, I would love it to create a little bit more of a gap here too, to the cars behind. But the gap that we have right now isn't terrible in terms of us double stacking. Because right now the Williams are going to suffer, the RBs are going to be fine, or the V-Carb rather is going to be fine. But if we can retain a 3-second gap between Sargent and Schumacher, that wouldn't be terrible for the pitting. And Sargent has in fact gotten re-overtaken as Russell's mechanical fault has evolved into a fatal one.
That's not good. They'll need to retire the car.
That is an engine failure by the looks of things, and he will retire, which he just did. But yeah, Sainz definitely did not like being overtaken. He came back, immediately reinstated a 3-second gap here. That's not great. We still have very high confidence in Sargent. But Sainz is now just absolutely dominating. And we're going to have this short squall of very, very heavy rain. And then we're going to be pitting for dries. So the rain has just finished. We are not expecting any more of it. And we are once again running a 1-2 here with Sainz, Sargent, and Schumacher kind of all running inside of each other. Verstappen is actually getting part of this mix, which is kind of bad for Red Bull. Not gonna lie. But we want to try and get the overtake done here right before we pit, which is going to be within the next few laps. So hopefully this will be good enough. And for Schumacher here, maintaining his position would be great. But creating a more of a gap to Tsunoda, who now has the mechanical fault, would be even better. And while 1-2 here for the pits is not going to be amazing, it's better than being with another car. And let's face it, if Schumacher's with us once we get DRS, that too isn't all that bad. And it looks like Schumacher might actually make a move here on the Red Bull, which he does. And we're now 1-2. Rain is still going down very slowly. We're probably going to do 1 or 2 more laps here. Now, this is a tough one because the rain is going down. It has been going down. Do I pit Schumacher? I think I do. I think I pit Schumacher here. Just to make sure they're not on top of each other. Can we run full attack till the end? We can. It's about a second quicker. So we pit Schumacher. The rain is still going down, albeit a little bit slowly. We're just doing this basically to make sure that we don't pit on top of each other. And we're probably going to be down to 95, 90 maybe by the time Schumacher's out. Yeah, 93 here. They're still going to be a little bit slow. Safety car has been deployed. Okay. Safety car deployed. Hamilton is out. Stroll is out. We're going to get a grandstand finish, I guess. Stroll takes out the Ferrari. Stroll. Now, for Schumacher, this is not necessarily a good thing, because even with the safety car here, some of the other cars are going to be able to jump in through the pits.
Just keep your tire temp.
So, let us pray that we get a clean stop here for Sargent, because that's going to be key. If we get held up by a back marker that could pit it earlier, I'm going to be upset. That is good. Now, Schumacher here. Where exactly are you going to come out? Verstappen with the pit stop issue is huge. Are we going to beat Albon out? No. So that safety car cost us probably at least 2 positions, maybe 3. And that is frustrating, to say the least. That's actually infuriating. I've been strolled in the worst way possible. Now, on the other hand, if we were running side by side, this would have probably cost us a little bit more. So, it's not the worst punishment. It's just a little bit unfortunate with the timing. Let's just put it like that. Not the best timing I've ever seen in this game. Restart is underway. It's gonna basically be a DRS train of full attack for everyone. Schumacher with a slight disadvantage with 2% more quantize due to pitting a lap earlier. I do believe Schumacher would have come out on top if it wasn't for the issue. And Schumacher actually clears Albon there with relative ease. Beautiful. Sainz is almost left behind. He's 8/10 behind. It's going to close down, of course, with DRS. But Sargent might be able to create a gap here that is big enough that Sainz loses DRS. Well, DRS just got enabled, so we can hope. Looks like he'd still be fine. But Tsunoda is not going to be okay here. Schumacher, we're just going to have to put him to neutral, try and manage. Same here for Sargent. We are going to get overtaken. That's fine. No way we can really defend against that. We are just going to have to do a little bit of top up here, I think, for both of our cars. And the Sainz can actually just run away. And there isn't really much I can do about it. I'm not gonna lie here. Put both of them back to neutral because we're losing a lot of time right now. Yeah, that safety car really did a number on us. Because now that DRS is back in the menu, everyone is bunched up, and let's face it, DRS is not one of our strengths. At all. For Sergeant though, we are going to try and do a little bit of top up here. Even though we're now ahead, which is not great. For Schumacher, we do need to harvest. It's just straight up something we have to do. We have to harvest, we have to have energy. Because that's the only way we're making the overtake. And we are also going to have to use energy every now and again to protect against overtakes. That's very, very annoying. But it's Yamamoto. Arguably the best driver on the grid at the moment. Couldn't really complain much about that. Fuel is also going to be a concern that needs to be managed. Go back to harvesting here. We have Verstappen on us as well. Just losing so much time whenever we harvest. Can we stay on the... No, we gave up. Schumacher downfall here. At least he still has very high confidence. There's 4 laps remaining. Honestly, there's nothing really we can do here. It's just going to be a domino effect till the end. We now have Tsunoda, Sainz, Albon, Yamamoto. Everyone is in here. The only thing I can really hope for is that everyone slows each other down enough that Schumacher can get in the mix, but he just isn't quick enough. Of course, he doesn't have the benefit of DRS, and now he also doesn't have the benefit of a car. As Gasly takes him out, I think is going to be the consensus there. That's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the Gasly incident again. That is probably the end there for Schumacher's race. Okay, we actually got penalized. It was our fault. Okay. Looked to me like Gasly came on the inside and went a little bit too deep, but I might be wrong. I need to do a VAR review on that one. Is this Stroll? No, that's Rivas, sorry, not Stroll. I think it would be too risky here to deploy to try and break away. It would be way too risky. It's 3 laps to go. Not really much, as I mentioned, I can do. For Schumacher, he's out of the points. I don't see him closing into the points again. The Sergeant is just managing and choosing the right time to run away, literally. The right time to push. And even if we do get overtaken here on this lap, that should be okay. Gonna give you a little bit of fuel though to push with. Sainz is coming in there like a shark. Look at that. That's insane.
Last lap.
We got double overtaken there. Can we fight it back? No, we cannot because we're off the track. That is some bullshit.
You're doing good.
That's very frustrating. I probably should have, you know, started the push a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. I thought one of them would be overtaking me at tops here, but it looks like we might be able to find it back a little bit. Energy is of course a concern right now. But we have the RS to at least protect second place. Can we get first? No, we're actually going to get third. Look at the difference in acceleration there. Both cars with the RS. We end up third. Schumacher ends up 14th, well, 15th after penalties.
Taking the win.
Okay, that is the challenge.
I don't know what to say after that one. I honestly don't know what to say. I probably mismanaged the end there. Probably used my drivers being a little bit more aggressive, a little bit better. That's very, very frustrating. I've been strolled. That's the best way I can describe that. And this basically puts Red Bull back in charge. Signs in the lead down drive championship. And Constructors, they outscore us by 21 points. And we have to blame Schumacher here because he received the penalty. It was probably his fault. But that was the amateur hour, honestly, from both me and the team. And that is probably where we're gonna end it today because that was painful for me to witness. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that is that's gonna be it here. I'm gonna just clean everything up for next time. Get a couple of new components on the car. I know what I could have done different there. I could have just started the aggression a little bit earlier. Gone full attack a little bit earlier. That would have helped. A lap before, basically. But even then, the difference there in speed between us and the RB to the finish line was insane. And the fact that the Red Bull pulled away, even without DRS, is painful to watch. Let's just put it like that. Could be a reaction thing. But yeah, that sucks. We did have a good one in Monaco. Then we threw it all away in Canada. If this is going to be the season, I think the only thing we can kind of try and maximize is going to be Sergeant Championship. But we'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much for watching. Not as many races as I hope we would get done today. But these two do always give an interesting showing. Let's just put it like that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you still have a very, very good holiday. And I will hopefully see you next time. Bye-bye.